Howdy everybody, and welcome back to another Workshop Wednesday. It is still very warm out, so pardon me if I break a sweat today. Anyway, what we're going to be working on today is changing out the front tires on the riding lawnmower. If you recall, I had issues with those in the last year or so, and I changed out the one that kept going flat, and that's when I noticed a little bit of a problem. So let's take a look at that right now. Okay, now you'll notice there are a pair of pliers on there. They're just about even here on the inside of the tire, and they're hanging over, half, 3/4 of an inch on that side. That is the new tire, same size printed on it as what the old tire was, but it's narrower. And here's the old tire that's still on the front of the thing on the left side, and you can see the tire is as wide as that pair of pliers is long. So what we're going to do today is change out this 15 by 600 by 6 tire on the left side of this lawn tractor, so the fronts will both match, they'll both be narrow. And I bought these in a pair off of Amazon, I believe it was. And then we'll take that other wider, fatter tire, the original one, on the lawnmower and put it on my little John Deere carry-all wagon. Yeah, that way I can move stuff around the place here. A little bit easier than getting a platform carrier on the back end of Stinky and hauling that around the little acreage here. Say, did you know a man and woman can be friends with no hanky-panky involved? Yeah, it's called marriage. Okay, first thing we're going to do is see if this jack will go up high enough to jack that front wheel up off the ground there. It may not. I may have to end up jacking the whole entire front end instead of just that axle, and we'll see what it'll do here. Yeah, it'll pick it up. Alrighty, get that up in there where I can work on it a little bit. Yeah, about right there. And now we'll take the hubcap and the retaining pins and all that out of it. Okay. It'd be easier if I could get down on my knees and work on it that way, but I'm not even going to attempt that on this concrete. Well, I got that pin out finally after arguing with it. That washer's pretty well kaput almost. And there's the tire. Alrighty. Now, if I remember right, we had to put a bunch of washers in behind the other tire because the rim spacing was a little bit off. Let me check it here right quick. Yeah, I need some washers in there. It's right up against that end of the axle and the knee, the string knee, so we'll have to get some washers in there. I don't know if y'all recall all those little tip-out bins I was working on there for a while, putting labels on them and stuff for nuts and washers in the new little workshop, hanging them on the wall. Well, you know what? Oop, look out, cat. I had ordered some new washers, and I'm glad I did, because I got 4 5/8 washers here off of that kit that I bought to fill all of those little pigeonholes up with, to use as spacers on that front wheel of that riding lawnmower. We'll put this tire on here, and we'll see how that fits up against that knuckle there. Hey, looky here. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, there is a gap, so good enough. So we'll put the another washer on here on the wheel and put the thing on it, put the cap on it, grease it up, and we're good to go. I will put one of those extra 3/4 inch washers, flat washers, on the outside of the hub of the wheel. There is a washer that goes there, but it's got a little flange on it that catches the cotter pin so it doesn't rotate. So yeah, we'll have something between the wheel and that. So using just another one of those 3/4 inch washers. Yeah, and once we get that done, then we can drag out that green John Deere lawn cart, drag it around here, and change out the wheel that's flat on it. Yeah. Alrighty. There it is, and it rolls. We'll get some grease in that zerk right there and do the one on the other side. and I can go to mowing. But I'm going to check the air pressure in them first, though. Okay, well, that completes that one, other than getting that jack up underneath that front axle. Now, like I said, we'll go get the trailer and change its tire. Then I can start hauling some stuff that's around here, and maybe get something else put together today. Yeah, so on we roll. Do you know what they call a sleepwalking Catholic priest? Any ideas? It's a roaming Catholic. Well, the front tire on the Cub Cadet's doing okay. We're going to get around to changing the fluids in it and the seat, sharpening the blades, and yeah, getting that part ready to go. But for the rest of this video, we're going to be working on, pardon the gritty camera work, that flat tire right there. Yeah, and it is flat. Well, I flipped the wagon up on its side, and you can see how cruddy these tires are. The sidewalls are gone, and we get it around here. There's even a big crack in the tread right there. Multiple cracks anyway. Yeah, and it's from sitting flat. So this tire's been flat now for years, and I've just been dragging it around behind the lawnmower. So I think it's time we get around to pulling that little snap ring out of there and getting it changed. Once again, that tire is the same size, at least marked on the sidewall, as the tires for the front end of the riding lawnmower, but they are 3/4 of an inch or so wider in the tread width. So that's why I'm going to take that one last good one that was on the front of the lawnmower, put it on the little wagon. That way I'll have it set, I can drag around the yard. And we'll see if we can't get that snap ring out of there. Yeah, didn't look like I'm going to be able to get in there without having a screwdriver. So we'll get into the pocket here and drag out the Leatherman and get out the medium-sized screwdriver blade and work that E-ring up out of there a bit so we can, yeah, pardon the hand in the way. There it is right there. Yeah. And yeah, bunch of dried up grease around the end of that axle shaft. And we'll scrape that off. There we go. Yeah, something kind of like that. Okay, back again. And a $5 bet says we're going to need bushings. Nope, by golly, we're good. We'll just put that E-clip back on there, grease that wheel up, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. Pardon me, I'm shading the project here. Yep. I may need to go get a regular set of pliers instead of these needle nose jobbies. Yep, let me go grab the other pliers. Okay, and that E-ring's back on there, and we're ready to flip the thing right side up and grease the hubs, and away we go. Say, what can you say about someone that puts lipstick on their forehead? Any ideas? Yeah. It just says that they can make up their minds. Yeah. Oh, that's a bad one. Next up is installing the new seat on the lawnmower. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if this one's going to fit or not, because it is just an aftermarket seat. I could not find one for Cub Cadet that was reasonably priced. They do have them out there on the market, but they're all over $300 and some just for a seat, when you can buy a universal one for between $85 and $120, depending on bolt spacing, what the thing's made out of, and that sort of thing. So let's see what we got and see if it fits. Well, what we've got here is a nice seat, I'm hoping, made in Chinesium. Hopefully it's made from something better than unobtainium. But we shall soon see here. Well, so far, it looks pretty much like the original. Yeah, and the bolt hole spacing on the bottom, there should be 6-inch holes here, which I think we're going to end up using these two up here, I believe it is, because there isn't the third one here like there is on the original seat. So we'll get the mower around here and we'll unscrew those bolts right quick and see if this will fit. Well, there's 3 mounting bolt locations on this seat, how it attaches to the steel plate that does the flip up part. Unfortunately, there's only one bolt left. It looks like it's a 9/16. So we will pull it out and see what happens here. These little white plastic things here, and this one that I'm pulling the bolt out of are actually the guides for the slide part of the seat. And then this thing here is the seat spring on and off thing. So if you get off the seat, it shuts the mower down. The stepdad took that apart and taped that all up years ago so that it'd keep on running when he'd jump off the seat. Yes, I'm holding the wrench a little bit funny today. That's just because my arthritis is acting up. Let's see if I can get it going this way again. So, with only one of these bolts with the flat washer built in underneath it, the head of it, I'll have to go down to the local hardware store and see if I can come up with some bolts that'll fit that, and maybe some washers if I don't have any in my bin yet, because I didn't get all the sizes of washers for those little bins. Yeah. Anyway, well, we're unscrewed there. Okay, now let's see. Well, the seat doesn't lift off for some reason. Oh, that's why I need the $300 seat. These little plastic pieces are built into the seat. And, well, let's see. It looks as though I could slide that seat maybe all the way forwards and it'll come off. We'll give it a whirl here and see what happens. Yep, it does. There we go. Okay. So now I need to get these little plastic things out and well, let's see what we can do with that other seat first. Maybe it'll just fit right on there. Okay, what I'm looking at here is possibly using this same size bolt. I've got 2 holes that are lining up in those slots. Well, 3 if you count the one in the middle. And if I can get a big enough washer underneath the head of those, that will fill in the gap there between the slides. I don't necessarily need the seat to slide, but I do need it to be held in place. So I'm going to get into the hardware store, pick up 3 of these screws or bolts, and get some with a bigger washer built into underneath the head, or just a washer period. Yeah. I got the digging around in the package of parts and pieces, and it does come with some new bolts to mount the seat to the platform frame. Comes with a lock washer and a small flat washer. Well, those are just large enough to fit down inside the slots in the base of the frame there, but to get everything to lock together, I got to have a big 1/4-inch flat washer. And I got a 5/16 hole by 1 1/4 is what I meant. Yeah, so we'll put those on. We'll get them on here in the right way around. If I can do it with one hand. And let's see, where's that 6-inch hole at? Right there. I think that's it. Yeah, that'll hold that one for a minute. And we'll put this other one together. Something kind of like this. Yeah, we'll put that one in there and get it started. Yeah. Something kind of like that. And I found the original size screw works in the middle hole right there, so that will help keep the chair from wobbling sideways, I guess. So yeah, we'll put that there, and we'll do the same setup with a lock washer and a flat washer to go down inside of that groove to keep everything from turning. Yeah, let me dig it out of the box here, and we'll get it put together. Right in short order. Oh, that washer won't go on there. Neither will that one. Okay, so we'll just put this one on and call it good in here. Yeah. 3 holding that seat on there is better than none, so. Away we go. Now we'll jack it up here. And eyeball it here to make sure it's kind of centered, which it looks like it is a little bit. So we'll tighten up these with a 1/2-inch wrench. And use my 9/16 on that one there in the middle. Draw that down good and tight. Yeah, let's see how it looks here. Perfect. Yay. Yeah, that doesn't look too terrible bad on there. Let's see how it fits and sits. Well, it sits very nicely, other than it feels like it's leaning to the right, but then my right rear tire had look, it isn't flat, it's just down in a hole. But yeah, nice spring action, and it feels pretty comfortable so far, but an hour or so sitting on it, it'll tell. But now I can get around the small place here because of my knees and I can't walk real well. Now I can get around the place here and clean up messes and do stuff. Yeah. Now I have somewhere I can put my stuff that I need to haul, say, down to the shop without having to use the pickup to drive it down there. Yeah, I can just use the lawnmower and this little buggy wagon here. Yeah, just something like that. We'll get some of this stuff out of here and haul it down there. I got a couple 100 pounds worth of stuff in my toolbox in here that I'd like to get rid of because it's making the mileage drop off in that little pickup. So we'll get some of this out of there, including this chunk of mine rail. Yeah. And we'll put it right in there just like that. Okay? Maybe we'll go downhill with it. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, it's going to have another bunch of uses. It's going to help me out a great deal. So there we go. We're back having something totally useful that I can use again around the place. That'll make my days and jobs a lot easier. Heck, I even have a cane holder right there on that little old rack on the back end of that wagon. It's going to do it for this little fix-it video. And hope you enjoyed it. A little something that I'm doing middle of the weeks now. Got a nice one coming up this weekend. You're going to be impressed at who you know sometimes. Yeah. So you might want to stay tuned for that one coming up this coming Saturday. Sunday, sorry. It's going to be a little different than what I normally do, but I think the person that you find there that I'm talking to will be of great little bit of interest to you. There might be some interest to you. Should be anyway. So anyway, I'm Dave, wishing you all well. And remember, if it ain't useful, it isn't worth having probably. Yeah. Take care now. Bye-bye.